What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'll be taking a look at the entry list for the 2024 Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. We're going to start and talk about the one car for Trackhouse Racing. This one's going to be driven by Ros Chast. Ros Chast historically has been really solid and really good at this racetrack and won the last time we were here at Phoenix Raceway. And let's continue a really strong start to 2024 after coming off finishing 4th place at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He looks to get his first win of 2024 this weekend at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 2-car for Team Penske? This one's going to be driven by Austin Cindric. Now, Austin Cindric has not been very good here at Phoenix Raceway historically in Cup, but in Xfinity, he's been pretty good here as he won the championship at this track 4 years ago in 2020. He'll be looking to get his first win since the 2022 Daytona 500 and looks to have a really solid and strong run, looking to get Penske's first win of the 2024 season this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 3-car for Rich Choice Racing? This one's going to be driven by Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's had an up-and-down start to the 2024 season, but had a pretty good run at Las Vegas last weekend. He'll be looking to continue that momentum and get a really good run with RCR, though historically in the last couple seasons, RCR has struggled on short tracks. Hopefully Austin Dillon can turn that around this weekend and have a really good run with RCR at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 4-car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This one's going to be driven by Josh Berry. Josh Berry ran in this Cup race last year, substituting for Chase Elliott when Chase Elliott was injured, and I think he ended up finishing in the top 15 or almost got a top 10 at Phoenix last year. He's been solid here in the Xfinity Series as well, and we know how strong the 4-car has been at Phoenix Raceway in the past, so I don't expect Josh Berry to be a major threat and contender to get it done this weekend in the 4-car. I think he does have a chance to maybe get a top 15 or maybe an outside shot at getting a top 10. Up next, how about the 5-car for Hendrick Motorsports? This one's going to be driven by Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson's had a really solid start to the 2024 season as he's coming off of winning this past weekend at Las Vegas and got his first win of 2024. He was very close to winning the championship race last year. Didn't lead any laps, but I do expect Kyle Larson to be a pretty big threat and contender to get it done this weekend at Phoenix. I think this 5-car will be contending for a victory at Phoenix International Raceway this weekend. Up next, how about the 6-car for RFK Racing? This one's going to be driven by Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski's had a little bit of a disappointing start to the 2024 season and is looking to have a bounce-back performance. And he'll have a new sponsor with Consumer Cell coming in to take on their first race as a sponsor. He's looking to bounce back and get the first win for RFK of 2024. Chris Buescher was really solid here last time, so hopefully that momentum from the last time he raced here could help Brad Keselowski contend and put up a good run at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 7-car for Spire Motorsports? This one's going to be driven by Cory Le Joy. Cory Le Joy had a really good run going at Las Vegas last week. At points was inside the top 5, but unfortunately spun out with around 35 laps to go and finished around 29 for 30th, I believe 1 or 2 laps down, which is a shame because it shows that Spire Motorsports has had some pretty good solid speed to start the 2024 season. He looked to have a bounce-back performance and try to contend for a good run this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 8-car for Richard Childress Racing? This one's going to be driven by Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle Busch historically has been pretty solid at Phoenix Raceway, but the last couple times with RCR, it has not gone very good for him. He'll look to have a bounce-back performance after having basically the speeding issues and the issues on pit road, which has cost him some really good runs. Hopefully he can have a bounce-back run and do a really good job this weekend at Phoenix. If there's anybody that can bounce back, though, it's definitely Kyle Busch, who is a former winner here. Up next, how about the 9-car for Hendrick Motorsports? This one's going to be driven by Chase Elliott. Now, Chase Elliott has been pretty good at Phoenix Raceway in the past. He got a top 5 in the championship race in 2021 and also won this track in championship in 2020. He's looking to have a little bit of a better performance, a little bit mediocre at Las Vegas, so he was in the top 10 at times. We'll see what Chase Elliott can do, and we'll see if he can get his first win of 2024 this weekend at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 10-car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This one's going to be driven by Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson had a really good performance at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, finishing in 6th, and has historically in the Xfinity Series been pretty solid and pretty quick here. I think that Noah Grayson could be an underdog pick this week, and he could be someone to watch for potentially get a top 10, considering this is a shorter oval. We know SHR tends to show up on the shorter ovals. We'll see if Noah Grayson can continue the strong momentum to start the year and continue to build up some points, especially after the 35-point penalty. Up next, how about the 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This one's going to be driven by Denny Hammond. Denny Hamlin's been pretty good at this racetrack, but not absolutely spectacular. He was solid here last year in 2023, and he's looking to run much better and get his first win in 2024, which Denny Hamlin has led double-digit laps in every single race up to this point this year. He's looking to end the Chevrolet streak, as Chevrolet has won the last 4 points-paying races, and Denny, of course, does have the exhibition win at the Clash and has won here a couple times. We'll see if Denny Hamlin can break the Chevrolet strangle in Cup. Up next, how about the 12th car for Team Penske? This one's going to be driven by Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, of course, won the championship the last time we were here, but did come up and finish in second place. I expect Ryan Blaney to be a threat and contender for the win. He's been historically really good at this racetrack, and we know Team Penske is going to do their best and their part to try to give Ryan Blaney an epic shot at getting that first win at 24. I think he will be a major threat and contender to get it done this weekend. Up next, how about the 14 car for Suarez Racing? This one's going to be driven by Chase Brisco. Chase Brisco has been pretty fast here in the last couple of seasons and won here in the spring race in 2022, which is the only Cup Series win up to this point. We know that SHR, like I mentioned with Noah Grayson, has historically been pretty good at this racetrack. We'll see if they can use that momentum and potentially give Chase Brisco his first win of 2024 at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 15 car for Reic Racing? This one's going to be driven by Kaz Grala, who will make his second points-paying, actually third points-paying start of 2024. Kaz Grala had a solid performance, an okay performance at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, finishing in the top 30. He's looking to have another really good run and hoping to continue the really decent start for Reic Racing in 2024 this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 16 car for Kaulig Racing? This one's going to be driven by Derek Kraus, who will make a second career NASCAR Cup Series start. Derek Kraus, yes, he finished 29th, 3 laps down, but one good thing for Derek Kraus is he actually got the lead laps for the first time in his career. I think Derek Kraus is a decent driver overall, and I think he could have a pretty solid performance. But even though Kaulig Racing's kind of been struggling, I'm a little worried about the speed for Kaulig this weekend. We'll see if Derek Kraus can run good with Kaulig Racing. Up next, how about the 17 car for RFK Racing? This one's going to be driven by Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher is looking for redemption this weekend after a really terrible performance at Las Vegas, finishing last and only completing around 30 laps in the event, and will also have a few less pit crew members after the tire came loose and came off. He did have soft speed last time we were here, so maybe he can use that speed he had last time we were here and put up a good performance. We'll see what Chris Buescher can do this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This one's going to be driven by Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. has had an okay start to 2024 and did have some pretty good speed the last time we were here. And he's, of course, I think he may has won here before or has almost won at this track before in the past. He actually did win the 2021 spring race, so he has won here before. Maybe he can use that experience to really help him out. We'll see what Martin Truex Jr. can do. He'll be looking to get his first win in almost a year up to this point. Up next, how about the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This one's going to be driven by Christopher Bell. Very similar to Chris Buescher, he's looking for a bounce-back weekend. Had a loose wheel, basically had a flat tire, and then, of course, spun out about halfway through the event. I think Christopher Bell will have a decent chance and opportunity if no tire issues come into play. He's been pretty good at this racetrack in the past and has won before in Xfinity. We'll see if Christopher Bell can have a bounce-back weekend at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 21 car for the Wood Brothers? This one's going to be driven by Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton's had a very rocky start to 2024. He's had one finish inside the top 15, and the other two have been outside the top 30 or around that top 30 range. He's been not very good at this track historically in his career. Let's see if Harrison Burton can have a bounce-back performance and run good with the Wood Brothers this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 22 car for Team Penske? This one's going to be driven by Joey Logano. Joey Logano had a pretty okay performance at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, finishing inside the top 10. He's looking to have a really good run this weekend. Historically, Joey Logano has been pretty good at Phoenix Raceway. We know the Team Penske cars are strong, and he's going to need that to dig out of a little bit of a hole that he has right now below the cutoff line. I think he does have a chance and opportunity to do that, though, this weekend at Phoenix International Raceway. Up next, how about the 23 car for 2311 Racing? This one's going to be driven by Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace did not have a great performance at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Unfortunately, having a wheel nut get Deca stuck in the car. He tried to help Tyler Reddick get the win against Kyle Larson, but unfortunately was not able to get up there. Now, Bubba Wallace has been hit or miss at this racetrack in the past, but the last couple times we've been here, he's been pretty solid. Hopefully, Bubba Wallace can have a bounce-back performance and try to contend for the win this weekend. Up next, how about the 24 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This one once again be driven by William Byron. William Byron's coming off of having a pretty bounce-back performance, finishing in 10th, and still is inside the top 10 in the standings currently at the moment. William Byron also won the spring race last year in 2023 and has been pretty fast in his Cup Series career up to this point. I think he'll have a really good chance and opportunity to potentially get his second win of 2024 at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 31 car for Kaulig Racing? This will once again be driven by Daniel Hemric. Daniel Hemric has won here before in the NASCAR Xfinity Series back in 2021, but he has not historically been great here in Cup up to this point. We'll see what he can do, and we'll see if he can have a good performance, but let's be realistic and honest. I'm not expecting the Kaulig cars to be really strong this weekend at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 34 car for Front Row Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Michael McDowell. He's qualified pretty good, but hasn't really had the respectful finishes that he deserves up to this point, though he did tentatively almost get a top 10 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm not expecting much from McDowell this weekend, though I know he's got the Team Penske Alliance, which could really help him, but let's be honest, it's going to take some time for the front row cars to really show up and come into play. We'll see what Michael McDowell can do this weekend at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 38 car for Front Row Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Todd Gillan. Now, Todd Gillan is still inside the top 5 and 10 of laps led up to this point, but Todd Gillan really hasn't had the finishes to show for it. He hasn't also been very good at this track historically, so I'm not expecting Todd Gillan to set the world on fire here at Phoenix Raceway, and looks to build on and have a much better performance this weekend at Phoenix International Raceway in the 38 car. Up next, how about the 41 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This will once again be driven by Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece is off to a very rocky start. He got that 35-point penalty and didn't score a lot of points at Las Vegas and is still outside the top 30 in points currently at the moment. He needs to start building on so he can stay at SHR long term, because his future could be a little uncertain, especially if Stewart-Haas Racing is in fact able to leave their manufacturer. We'll see if Ryan Preece can, though, have a good run this weekend at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 42 car for Legacy Motor Club? This will once again be driven by John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek has been solid here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but in Cup, it's a much different story. And I don't think John Hunter is going to set the world on fire. I think he's got a really good chance to win the Xfinity Series race today prior on Saturday, but I don't expect him to be a major threat for the win. I think he'll finish outside the top 20 more than likely this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 43 car for Legacy Motor Club? This will once again be driven by Eric Jones. Eric Jones has had a solid start to 2024, but has not absolutely had an amazing season. He did have a solid run last week at Vegas, and he'll be looking to have a much better performance here at Phoenix Raceway and continue to try to build Legacy Motor Club up into a playoff caliber team this weekend at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 45 car for 2311 Racing? This will once again be driven by Tyler Reddick. Now, Tyler Reddick's coming off of having an amazing performance at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, was really the only driver that could keep up with Kyle Larson all day long. And Tyler Reddick has been pretty good at this track historically in his career. So I do think that Tyler Reddick, if 2311 Racing is fast, I think that will lead to Tyler Reddick having a very solid and good performance this weekend at Phoenix Racing. We'll see what he can do. Up next, how about the 47 car for JTG Doherty? This will once again be driven by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has had a pretty good start to the year, all things considered, has some pretty respectful runs, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. historically has not been amazing at Phoenix International Raceway. I think he does have an Xfinity Series win technically here, but he has not been really good here in Cup. And I'm not expecting Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to set the world on fire. I think he will probably struggle this weekend at Phoenix International Raceway. Up next, how about the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Alex Bowman. Now, Alex Bowman had one really good performance here back in 2016, but since coming here full-time in 18, he has not ran very good here. He's had a lot of finishes outside the top 15 and outside the top 20, and he needs to start building on some good performances because Alex Bowman right now is currently on the cut line. We'll see if Alex Bowman can have a bounce-back performance and run really good with Hendrick this weekend at Phoenix. Up next, how about the 51 car for Reic Racing? This will once again be driven by Justin Haley. Justin Haley's had a pretty good start to the year for the Reic Racing standards. He's at pace and speed and did get a top 30 finish with Reic at Vegas. I think that Justin Haley has a shot for top 20 or top 25. Reic shown some decent pace at this track in the past. We'll see if Justin Haley can, though, put up a good performance this weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Up next, how about the 54 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This will once again be driven by Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs has had a very good start to 2024. He had a really good run at the Clash going. He had a decent Daytona 500. He got a top 10 at Atlanta, and is coming off of getting his first top 5 of the year at Las Vegas. He's been historically pretty good here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He's won here once or twice before, and I do expect that Ty Gibbs will be a threat and contender to maybe get a top 5 or maybe an outside shot at winning this weekend. He's had a good start. It's not going to be long before Ty Gibbs picks up a victory in Cup. Up next, how about the 71 car for Trackhouse/Spire? This will once again be driven by Zayn Smith. Zayn Smith needs to turn the season around. It has been a rough start to 2024. He did have a solid performance in the Daytona 500, but the last 2 races he's had broken toe links after getting into the outside wall. The hope is for him is he could turn the corner and have a bounce-back performance in that number 71 car. We'll see what he can do. The Trackhouse cars, though, have been pretty fast at this racetrack. Up next, how about the 77 car for Spire Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Carson Osar. Carson Osar is coming off having a really good performance at Las Vegas. He had a top 10 car at points and did get 15th after bouncing back from tire issues. I do believe that Carson Osar is going to have a chance for another top 15. I know he didn't run great the last time he ran here, but I think that Carson Osar, with how good he's been here in trucks in the past, I think that could lead Carson Osar to having a really solid performance. I think he'll be pretty good this weekend at Phoenix. And finally, let's talk about the 99 car for Trackhouse Racing. This will once again be driven by Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez had a solid start to the year, crashed out in the Daytona 500, won at Atlanta, and also finished in 11th at Las Vegas. I know he's been kind of hit or miss here in the Cup Series in the past, but I do think that Daniel Suarez does have a chance and opportunity if Trackhouse can show up with speed. If they continue having the great pace and speed, I think that Daniel Suarez will have a solid chance and opportunity to potentially get a top 5 or top 10 this weekend at Phoenix. So, that is the intros for the 2024 Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Notifications on so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as for on Patreon as well. Link description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. Who is your early pick to win this weekend at Phoenix? Let me know your picks in the comments below. Later this morning on the channel, I'm going to have the NASCAR Xfinity Series entry list for the call811.com every dig, every time 200. Then tomorrow on the channel, we'll have a NASCAR news video more than likely. And I'm also going to have the race picks for the Xfinity Series race. Then Thursday, I'm going to have race picks for the Cup Series race at Phoenix and also the paint scheme preview as well. Got a ton of great content dropping on the channel that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.